Hallo allemaal en welkom bij een nieuw A2 oefenexamen. Ik geef jullie de tijd om je antwoord op te schrijven. Je kan de video pauzeren, dan je antwoord opschrijven. En daarna geef ik een mogelijk antwoord en een beetje uitleg. So welcome to the A2 exam. You can have the time to write your answer by pausing the video, and after that I show some example answers and explanations why I chose this answer. We're also going to look at how you can score yourself to see what kind of points you would get. Laten we starten. Veel plezier.
Laten we beginnen. Je krijgt 4 vragen en je hebt 40 minuten de tijd. Kijk dus zelf hoeveel tijd je nodig hebt en neem niet meer dan 40 minuten de tijd. Laten we beginnen.
Uw dorp heeft een blog. Iedereen mag daar iets plaatsen. U plaatst een bericht om de dorpsbewoners uit te nodigen voor een feestje dat u elk jaar viert. Vertel minimaal 3 dingen over dit feestje. Denk aan wanneer viert u het feestje? Waarom viert u het feestje? En met wie viert u het feestje?
Okay, so I want to invite everyone to celebrate the end of Ramadan. I'm not sure how to say it in English, but in Dutch it would be Ramadan. En met het suikerfeest. So this is a really nice exercise. Usually only one of them is like this, which says write something. Make sure you write at least 3 things. But they don't say exactly what you have to say. That's why I made numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mentioned 4 things, basically also because the party starts at 4 on the town square or the village square, Dorpsplein. So here all you had to do in order to qualify, to have your points of you did it correct, all you had to do basically was write at least 3 things about a party that you celebrate every year. That was an easy one, so make sure if you check yourself, did I do that? Did I write 3 things about something I always celebrate? I invited my neighbors, but you don't even have to invite them, you can just write about the party. Let's have a look at how you are going to be scored. So let's have a look at the form and how we score you. Okay, on the left you see the form judgment, which we will have in a second, and on the right you see the writing. So you can also find these documents on duo.nl/zakelijk. So if it's like zakelijk is maybe like corporate business, you can find these judgments forms. So it's mainly for the teachers and people preparing. But it's really important, I think, for you as well to know how are they going to judge you, how they're going to score you. The most important part is accuracy. Accuracy means did you do what I asked you to do in the description? So I'm asked to do 3 things. If you did 3 things, it looked good, you get full points. If we're translating literally all of these things, then for grammar to get the one in bold are basically the ones you need to pass the exam. To get 1 point, the text has quite some grammar mistakes. Which means 1 mistake is not the end of the world. But to get full points, it has barely or no grammar mistakes. And to get 0 points on grammar, it has a lot of grammar mistakes. I think when you're presenting for the A2 exam, you should be far enough to not make a lot of grammar mistakes. To not have the wrong verbs with the subject. So not wij koop or ik kopen. No, ik koop, wij kopen. You should be at that level. You should know that with omdat the verb goes to the back. So you should not lose too much points on grammar, I think. Then spelling. Well, it's quite easy to get some spelling points because the one is phonetically they're quite okay. So phonetically you should spell them sort of okay, the words. So if you do an F instead of a V instead of an F, it's not the end of the world. However, phonetically not okay if you put, for example, lopen, loop, ik loop. If you don't double the O, it turns into lop. That's not written correctly, right? So when you conjugate your verbs, make sure your vowel stays long and short. Well, it's a lot of talking I'm doing about the judgment. You can find these files online as well. I will make sure to put a link in the description. So you can translate all of them and score yourself. And say, okay, well, I had this wrong, that wrong. Try and get your teacher to judge it. And make sure that you're prepared for the test, basically. Because sometimes I score my students and they think they did horribly. But then we find in the whole text maybe one grammar mistake. They did exactly what we asked from them. No spelling mistakes. They used omdat. So they get such high points. They would get an 8, 8.5 out of 10. So once you have your score divided by the total amount that you could get, you're going to have 3 of the open writing and 1 of the form. So get the total points divided by, so your points divided by the total points times 100 would be your note. So let's go to the next exercise.
Uw zoontje zit in groep 6 en ze gaan op excursie. U moet hiervoor toestemming geven. U kiest ervoor om geen vrijwillige ouderbijdrage te betalen. Uw zoon kan niet zwemmen en hij mag geen pinda's eten. U houdt hier rekening mee bij het invullen van het formulier. Vul het formulier in. Schrijf in volledige zinnen.
Okay, so my form was probably a little bit more tricky than the actual exam, because you're probably gonna register yourself for a gym or a language course or something like that, and you're free to put in the information yourself. But if you read my description, the task, it puts certain things about your son. So you're having a son. He's in group 6. He cannot eat nuts, so peanuts, sorry. He's allergic to peanuts. So he cannot eat that, so we're going to have to put that on allergies. It also said that I'm not going to pay the voluntary contribution, so I'm not going to pay anything for my son to go on this trip. And I also put that my son cannot swim, and I'm going to keep that in mind filling out the form. And then when we get to the activities, it says, well, is there activity that your son is not allowed to participate in? Mark it. So if you didn't read that and you marked the 3 ones he should participate in, you didn't read what was supposed to be done. And then accuracy is going to go down. It's really important we read what they want from us. So we should mark that he's not going to go canoeing because he cannot swim. What if he would fall out of the canoe? I mean, every school trip I went on where we were canoeing, I definitely ended up in the water since we're kids and we like to push each other over. And even though I can swim, we got into trouble because we're starting sinking the canoe if it gets too full of water. So he cannot join that. And then why? Well, it also says write in full sentences. So I made a nice one with omdat. Ik wil niet dat mijn zoon gaat kanoën, omdat hij niet kan zwemmen. So this one was tricky because I put some very strict guidelines on what to fill out in the form. So there was no, I have good fitness, I don't have good fitness, you can fill it out yourself. No, you had to use the parameters I put in the description there, in the task. Really read that task. You have plenty of time. You have about 10 minutes per question. You have time to read, to think, to plan. Did I do everything? We didn't see any colors yet, but we will see it in the next.
U gaat op vakantie dit jaar en wil hiervoor vrijvragen. U schrijft een e-mail aan personeelszaken om vrij te vragen. Vertel wanneer u op vakantie gaat. Vertel waarom u vakantie op wilt nemen. En vraag aan personeelszaken hoeveel vakantieuren u nog over heeft. Schrijf in volledige zinnen.
And here's the next one. So I did use colors here. Why? Because you should mention specifically those 3 things. So you should mention when you want holiday. Why you want holiday? Well, because you're going on a holiday. You should also mention or ask about how many hours are left, how many hours you can still take. different ways of phrasing it, but you need to do those 3 things for your accuracy. So if you don't have those 3 colors, if you didn't do those 3 things, it's going to be hard for you to pass the exam. If you do what they ask, you will probably pass your writing exam. If you write beautiful Dutch but do nothing what they ask, you're not going to make it on the exam. So let's look at these. I have 2 answers. Well, actually the one in small would be a better answer because it has the omdat. So the coherency one is like, well, there's some coherency there. It looks nice. It can be very short. This one, why did I make it in small? Most of the exam task will say write at least 3 sentences. And that second answer is only 2. But I didn't say you must use at least 3 sentences, so it would be a perfect answer. But pay attention, usually there is a minimum length on the writing exam. So they would say at least 3 sentences. Which gives me another side note, which you've probably heard me say a million times. Do not write 10 sentences. Only write what they're asking from you. If they're asking for 3 things, you name 3 things. If they're asking for 3 sentences and to tell those 3 things, I write the 3 sentences and just enough that I need. I don't add more information. So when I say, when do you see your family and what do you do with them? You're not going to say, I only see them when I travel to my home country because blah, 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 blah. No, just you see them when you travel home, you go have dinner together, enough. And then when you have a tea with a friend, you tell all about it, but not on the exam. Next question.
U schrijft een e-mail aan een webwinkel. U heeft helaas uw pakketje niet ontvangen. Vertel wat u heeft besteld. Vertel wanneer u dit heeft besteld. Vertel wat het probleem is en vraag om een oplossing. U mag zelf de informatie verzinnen. Schrijf de e-mail. Schrijf in volledige zinnen.
And yet again, we have colors because again, there were a few things that I had to put in there. I had to say what I ordered, when I ordered. What's the issue? Well, I didn't receive it and I should ask for some solution. So you can just ask, can you help me? I put, can you contact the mail? There's different ways. Can you ask them for sending a replacement? You just need to ask them for help. So kunt u mij hiermee helpen is also fine. It's actually beautiful because hiermee is like be1 conjugation with this, hiermee. So kunt u mij hiermee helpen? Will be beautiful. I again put colors. Ik heb vorige week een nieuwe laptop besteld. It puts 2 things in 1 sentence. I ordered a new laptop last week. And then I have, helaas is mijn pakketje nog niet bezorgd. Well, unfortunately my package has not been delivered yet. I once had a student who said you don't need any pass to present to your exam. I do think it's convenient to have some form of pass. Well, this is a passive, but still. Has not been delivered. It has not been delivered. Het is nog niet bezorgd. I think it's convenient to have the pass because sometimes you have to tell what has happened. You have left your wallet, for example. You forgot it. You do need some past, some imperfectum, perfectum. I don't know how to say it in English. Present perfect and present perfect past simple past. Well, it doesn't matter about the details. But that was it for this exam. So thank you very much for watching. I hope the tips helped. If you're not sure how to score your answer, just let me know the answer down below and I will let you know on which points you can improve and where you would lose points. See you on the next video. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching and thank you for your support. If you like this, like and subscribe, it really helps me. And see you on the next video. Let me also know what you want to see from me so I can make those videos. Bye bye!